in the future. So yeah, so that being said, practical steps or tips for an interview, which they're out there today, and very key for us to take into cognizance as we prepare for an interview. The first step I would always advise is to read through the job description. Every role, most times when you apply for a job, it's always you always have a job description attached to the role. So read through. Is it something that you're comfortable with? It's very important, because if you're not comfortable with the job description, somehow it will come out. It will play out when you're answering questions. Also, your CV should be well done, and make sure it is everything you have on your CV you can defend. So, for example, you go for a certification, you know that you just paid for that certification. You don't even understand what it is. So, sorry, someone is saying network issues. Can you hear me, please? Hello?
Hi, I can hear you. At a
Hello?
point it was breaking, but I can hear you clearly now.
It's better now.
Okay, that's actually why I went off camera, because of the network. I am very conscious so that I won't lose us. Okay, so sorry. Please kindly mute the person speaking. Thank you. Okay. Please let's mute our line so that we can have a very good time all together. Okay, so as I was speaking about the practical tips, so I'm now on the CV. Make sure your CV, what is on your CV, make sure you can defend everything in your CV. Very, very key. For face-to-face interviews, even Zoom interviews today, because some Zoom interviews are done even and you are told to enable your camera. So make sure you maintain eye contact. It's very, very important. Your voice modulation, your voice pitch is very key for an interview. Your body language, even if you are not being seen, make sure you're not slouching. As I'm speaking to you now, I'm speaking and I'm sitting straight up. Why? Because slouching has a way of affecting you psychologically. You feel relaxed and your voice begins to go down. Your voice begins to slouch as well. So you're talking, you're like, okay, I'm applying for this role before, because you forget yourself when you're slouched. So maintain an upright position. So don't forget, eyes on the prize. You have an impression to make. You're not the only one that has applied for this role. You're not the only one they are considering for this role. So you have to make that impression and make it very well. And in today's world, someone says you have most times only one time to make an impression. We all know the popular saying, first impression lasts longer. At times, your first impression might even be your only impression, especially when it comes to an interview. So it's very important you have your eyes on the prize. So moving on now, I think I will start answering the questions that CareerLife informed that they have been setting. I think I can see the screen. So CareerLife, Yewande, if you don't mind, if you could help to read the questions while I answer them, would be very helpful. Or okay, okay. I think I've bolded it on my screen. I think I can see it clearly now.
Okay, but I can
Okay,
read
so
it.
let's start.
So it's going to
You
be like a
could. Okay, before we
presentation.
go ahead. Okay, thank you. Before we go ahead, so that it doesn't look like I'm the only one talking. Can I get some emojis in the chat box about how we are feeling right now? Let's do that game for the next 2-3 minutes. I want to see some emojis in the chat box. I want to see if you are following. I want to see if I'm not the only one here. So let me enable my video for a while. So yeah, I can see. Thank you, Ruth. Oh, Ruth has 3 love. Kemi, nice. Okay. More. Okay, Tosa Mark, that's a lovely smile. Tosa. Oh, Lawrence, nice. Nice. Please, more. Okay. Yeah, nice. I can see I have a very engaged team. Yeah, I see Jarvis with a nice specs. He's looking cool. I see Zebulon with a big smile. Oh, Eniola is taking notes. I see Ko, Ko, Kolanka. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name well. With nice smile and the cap. Muidin, yes, thumbs up. Muidin and Samu. Yeah, right back at you. I see the high five. Okay, Emmanuel is giving a clap. Thank you, everyone. Sonia is giving a thumbs up. Nice. Thank you, Molewa. Nice, 100%. Okay, thanks to everyone. Nice, very nice so far, very engaging so far. So, Yewande, if you could please go ahead and read the questions, and then we'll be learning together. I would provide the answers to the best of my knowledge, and I know that it's going to be a rewarding experience for us all. So I think I'll go off camera again, just to I'll go off and on just because of the network so that I think it's important to hear my voice more than you see my face. Okay, please start.
Okay.
Number one.
Okay, so the first thing is, how do I build my confidence before an interview, especially for the first experience?
Yeah, this question comes up a lot, and believe me, I was once in your shoes. Um, Confidence is key when you're going for an interview, and I think someone has talked. I think the lady that talked about her expectations even touched on that already. She has not attended an interview before, and she wants to be confident and know how to answer questions. So the question is in line. Okay, first I would say be authentic. So aim to connect and not to impress. Very important that you stay authentic because if you're faking it, it comes out. Make sure you're prepared for it. That's how will you prepare? Make sure you go through the JD properly. Make sure your CV, like I would say, and I want to, it can't be overflogged. Make sure you can defend everything on your CV. If you can't defend it, don't take it out. Imagine and confess success. That is also very important because when you confess something, there's an adrenaline that goes through your system and it just makes you believe that you can get it. So imagine and confess success. You can also prepare your answers aloud. So you can get a friend to stand in front of you, ask you a few questions, and then you practice and then you answer, you know, while you're preparing. So I think that I would say will be the answer to the first question about building your confidence towards an interview. Number two, please.
Okay, thank you very much. What's the best reply to give when asked about how about the salary range?
Okay, salary range. Yeah, it's always tricky. And every interview this is always asked because it comes on with okay, what is your expectation? So I would say it can be answered in two ways. It can be answered by you doing a research, first of all. So find out what in that field, that industry. So, for example, you're applying for a role in the oil and gas industry, and for that particular role, you found out from a few colleagues and friends that they're paying maybe 5 million per annum for that role. So when you're pitching, you can say something in the line of that amount, but always make sure to add that you're open to negotiation. Another way that this would also work is the conventional answer, which says that I know there's a salary band attached to this role, so I'll go with the salary band. That could also work for you too. But there's some organizations that are very insistent, and they would want to have an idea of what you have in mind because they don't want to feel like they are cheating you in any way. Someone says I'm fading. Can you still hear me?
Now is better. Funny enough, I thought it was my
Hello.
laptop, but now it's good. At a point, you were breaking, but sometimes I think now it's better.
Okay, and that's actually why I went off video because of the network. Okay, but funny enough, network is quite good in this area. I don't know what happened today, but nothing will stop us from having a very fruitful session. So let's go on. So
So
please, once I'm fading, let me know so that I can always come back here. So please, the next question.
what do you do when you live in an area where there are no jobs available? Where there are no jobs available?
Oh. Wow, that's a very funny question. I'm also laughing really hard here. Well, no jobs available. I believe we have our life in our hands. Aside the fact that there is a divine hand which controls everyone, you have a part to play to define your future. Before, I think in the let me say 10 years back, for those of us that live in Lagos, we know that the mainland did not have so many organizations. Almost every organization was based on the island. So if you are staying in the mainland, you are working on the island. You didn't have places like Ikeja, Surulere, like it's just like 10 to 15 years ago that banks and organizations started, building up and opening branches in this area. Before it was basically industrial areas like Apapa. Apapa is known for industrial and FMCGs. Island is known for all kinds of organizations. So you have to make an important step of networking yourself. There are people that even today they still stay in very, very residential areas. They stay in estates where there are no organizations. So you have to step out. You can't decide to want to always stay in your comfort zone. Whoever says in your comfort zone doesn't advance. So you have to step out of your comfort zone, network. Today you have the world at your feet. The world is an oyster. The world is at your feet with the internet. Network on LinkedIn, network on Facebook, network on Instagram, network as much as possible. And also go out. Fine, with the COVID-19, we are restricted to going out. We are hardly gatherings anymore, but as much as possible network. So it's not an excuse for you not to have a job because you stay in an area where it's basically an estate, or you stay in an area where it's a low income area, and maybe the best job you can get there is a 20,000 naira job. You have a duty to step out. So that's my answer to that question.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for me, I just want to add to that. I don't think I know probably people that live in maybe some states that feel that, Lagos is where the jobs exist. But the truth is, maybe what you are saying is the kind of jobs you want and may not be available. So like one thing I would say is go beyond online, right? Sometimes maybe you'll be sending applications and you feel there's nobody that is applying for Oshogo or Ikire or you're something like that. You need to start asking around what are the businesses around here? What are the services that I can offer them? Rather than, telling yourself that, if it's not Lagos, my life is done for. Something like that. And then our guest has said, you can leave your environment, but I still feel that in wherever you find yourself, there are still things that can work out for you. So the next question.
Very well said. And if I could just also say something there too. And then, they believe that it's only Lagos. If you're not in Lagos, you're not going to succeed. It's false. It's totally false.
Yeah, very false.
I have a friend who works in Ogun State. He works with Central Bank of Nigeria in Ogun State, and he earns than some of us that are living in Lagos. So it's very, very false. And there are some organizations that are not even loud. They are quiet, and they are. I have another friend who just got a job with a mining industry in Ilesha. Now, when he told me, I never believed an organization like that could exist. And what do they mine? They mine gold. And he makes 6 digits. He makes 6 digits. And then he makes so much money more than some of us that are in Lagos. So Lagos is not the ultimate. Fine, if you really want to stay in Lagos, it's fine. But Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, I have a few mentees that they're not staying in these 3 states, and they're like, because I don't know anybody in Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja, so I've been without a job for 1 year. Who says Lagos is the ultimate? Who says Port Harcourt is the ultimate to Abuja? Or who says you have to travel out to get your dream job? You can be where you are. I think it's basically the value that you offer and how you prepare yourself. And then, like I said earlier, and like Yewande has said, you have to also step out. You have a duty to play as well. Thank you. So number 4, please.
Okay, so how do you answer the question? Tell me about yourself. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, tell me about yourself is a question that comes in almost every interview. There's hardly an interview I've sat in that I've not asked this question. And there's hardly an interview that I've also interviewed for, a role that I've interviewed for, that I've not been asked on this question myself. So basically, tell me about yourself. You have to stick to your qualities, your achievements, make you professional. It will help you. Because the interviewer is not, you're not the only one there, and the interviewer doesn't have the whole day. So tell me about yourself. You're saying, okay, my best food is rice and plantain. What has that got to do with an interview? You know, if you're going to talk about your hobbies, make sure you tie it to something related to professionalism. For example, you're talking about your hobbies. I like football, and you can link that to um for example, okay, I can see someone saying, tell me about yourself for a fresh graduate. Okay, and that's what I'm going to. You're a fresh graduate. I like football. That one, you don't need work experience to like football. Link that to the fact that, okay, and that shows that is linked to the fact that I like to work in a team. So that shows that you're a team player. I like to play chess or Scrabble. It helps me because it helps me to be analytical. It helps me to reflect. It helps me to think. So you're also telling yourself that you have high analytical skills, you know. So these are I like to you can also talk about for a fresh graduate, you can talk about things that you have volunteered for. Like, okay, during my NYSC, I volunteered for a particular organization where I help children who are disabled to move around. And you can tie that shows my patience level and the fact that I'm able to connect with people who do not have all it takes. So it shows that, okay, when this person comes into a team, even if we get someone, or we have a disabled person in a team, or we get someone who doesn't have it all, your patience level, you have demonstrated patience level, haven't been able to deal with people who are disabled. So these are just examples from among a whole lot of things. Playing football, you don't have to have worked to be able to play football. So these are things that you can refer to. So if you're going to refer to your hobbies, if you're going to refer to, and then you can also refer to what you studied. I studied chemical engineering because explain why you studied it, explain what you think you can achieve with this. So that is where I think I would draw the line on this particular question. But like CareerLife has said, and we'll still get to the Q&A, where you can also still ask me more deep dive questions, and I'll be supplying you answers. What we also do, like I said, it's learning and sharing. I can see some comments in the chat box already. We can also go through them. Some of us, we're going to be learning and sharing with each other. It's not just, there's no one size fits all to the response to this question. So let's go on.
Thank you very much. Just to add to that, I think we've discussed this thing. If I say 1,000,001 times, well, here it is. She has literally said almost everything. For a fresh graduate, what do you need to know when they ask you this question is this: they know you don't have it all. So the thing is, you become already defeated when you feel that because I've not made 100 million for one company before, then I have nothing to say. Like she said, you have something to say. They know you've not worked before. They're really looking for more of your personalities and your potential. All you need to show is, see, I know you know I'm not worked, but I have the potential. Why do I have the potential? These are some of the skills you've required. Soft skills, hard skills, technical skills, whatever they've required. And you yourself, you know, you are convinced that, yes, I can do this thing. All you need to do is show them, these are the skills you've required. This is how I've displayed it in the past. Not say, oh, I have communication skills, I have team playing skills, blah, 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 blah. How have you displayed it in whatever way, big or small? It could be your mom's shop. It could be that small team of 5 people you managed. Just show it. That's all. It's not a difficult question, because a lot of people already feel that, well, I'm done for. That's what makes it very difficult. But you just go through what she had said and you're good to go.
Thank you. Spot on. Thank you so much, Yewande.
Yeah. Number 5 is very interesting. It says, how can someone secure his dream job without having a godfather?
Hey. Interesting. Indeed, very interesting. Okay, okay. Thanks for that. Well, the reality is, yeah, godfatherism is real. It exists in every area of life. But the truth is, who says you can't get a job without a godfather? Where I currently work, I don't know anybody. I didn't know anybody there before I got the job.
Good afternoon, sir.
Please, can someone mute and hear good afternoon, sir?
You were
so let me go ahead. Okay, so back to what I was saying. You can actually get a job without having a godfather. How would you do that? For example, you want a job in an organization like maybe Procter & Gamble. it's an FMCG, big multinational FMCG, and you are really dreaming to work in that kind of place. So first of all, find out the kind of skills that are required for the kind of job that you're looking for in that kind of organization. So skills required are in different levels in organizations. In like Adepeju and Yewande and Co. A front desk person may just it may just be that okay, front desk person, you might just have studied anything, you might have not worked anywhere, and you're fine. But maybe a Procter and Gamble, I'm just giving an example, I'm not saying this is for a fact. Maybe a front desk person, they would like you to have undergone a particular course for you to be hired. So go ahead and do that course. So that when the opportunity opens up, you'll be prepared. Also try to network. Now you're trying to get a job in a particular, maybe for example, you want to get a job and you studied engineering and you want to get a job as an engineer. There are associations. So join these associations like Engineering Association of Nigeria or Lagos chapter, Abuja chapter, Ogun State chapter, Port Harcourt chapter, Edo chapter. So join these associations. That would also help you. So you're also network on LinkedIn. Look for be very specific. Highlight like 3 or 4 places that you would like to get a job, and try and follow people on LinkedIn in that or maybe Instagram if that's what works for you in that organization. But I would say LinkedIn, focus more on LinkedIn because it's professional. Because Instagram is good, but LinkedIn can serve you more when it comes to professionals and all that. So follow these people. Try to see. Some of them post roles when they open up in the organization. So when you're following them, you are able to see these roles pop up. And then, so like I also rightly said, equip yourself. Don't wait until when you have gotten a job in before you decide to start equipping yourself. If you're an HR person, it makes your job easier. You want a particular skill, and this person already has the skill, or rather, there's another person that is just about to go and acquire the skill. So equip yourself. After all, whatever you equip yourself with, at the end of the day, is yours. So don't wait until, the organization must invest in me. Invest in yourself too. It doesn't, at the end of the day, you don't lose anything by doing that. Thank you. Next question. Please, how many questions do we have in all? So, because I'm conscious of time.
We have about, this is 10 for the first slide, or 22.
Hello?
We have 22.
22. Okay. So I'll answer briskly so that I can give the opportunity for Q&A too.
Okay, so the next one is, why should we hire you? Very interesting question. Why should we hire you?
Yes, and it comes at the end of almost when any hiring manager, an HR professional is trying to make a hiring decision, they want an elevator pitch. They want you to pitch why you should be hired in like 2 to 3 minutes. And you have to hit it real hard and well. Because, like I always say, at the end of the day, most times you're not the only one being considered. Maybe they have 2 or 3 people. They're like, okay, so who should we pick at the end of the day? So this elevator pitch can make a difference. Why should we hire you? Stick to your qualities. Stick to the quick wins that you can bring. And I'm saying quick wins because make sure they are quick wins that you can deliver when you come in. Don't say what you cannot do, because at the end of the day, it will haunt you. You would have the manager saying it jokingly later, but he might be saying it jokingly, he or she might be saying it jokingly, but they actually mean it that, oh, but you said if you come on board, this is what you would do. So stick to the quick wins that you can come up with, stick to the qualities and tie it to achievements. Well, you should hire me because I have done this and this and this before, and this is what it translated into. When I come on board, I would also do this. So you have to sell yourself. Don't just say because I'm the best candidate. There are other people too. So you have to give that elevator pitch, and it has to be something you have prepared for. So like I said at the beginning, I at some point I talked about, I think it was the first question where we talked about building confidence, imagine and confess success. So you have confessed success. So you should also prepare for your elevator pitch so that when it comes, some organizations, just one day they want to do everything. You have an interview and every decision is made in just one day. So from the beginning, prepare your elevator pitch so that if that question comes up at your first interview, you're ready. Next question, please.
Okay, very, very well answered. Thanks so much for the clarification. Number 7, tell me 5 things about yourself that's not on your CV.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Okay. Now let me act like the interviewee. Now you are interviewing, and you're asking me for 5 things about myself, not on my CV. So I'll focus on things I volunteered
Hello?
to do. So I'm putting myself in the place of, hello, hello. Can you hear me, please?
Go.
Am I still audible?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay, okay. So I'm putting myself as an interviewee, and you are the one interviewing me, and I'm a fresh graduate. So I will talk about, okay, I am currently I'm the treasurer in my estate for end of year party, and this shows that I'm a very conscientious person. I'm very detailed, and I do things thoroughly. So now, being a treasurer in our end of year party, most times will not be on anybody's CV. Okay, in my church or in my mosque, I'm the leader of the teenage group, and with that, I've been able to help teenagers to maintain positive values and chart a career path for themselves. Now, I didn't write it on my CV that I'm the leader of teenage church or the teenage mosque group. That's another thing. Another thing I could put on my CV could be that I enjoy I enjoy I enjoy talking to people who cannot express themselves, but who express themselves with sign languages. Now, that most likely I didn't put on my CV. But what am I displaying? I'm displaying that I have the patience to try and get what you're trying to say. Even if you can't express yourself audibly, I can try to look at the way you're trying to make signs. Even if I'm not perfect at understanding sign languages, I can try to look at the way you're trying to make signs. And that shows tenacity. That shows that I have some level of patience. And I'm a go-getter. I'm trying to get what you're trying to say. I'm trying to interpret what you're trying to say. I can deal with ambiguity. Even though I don't understand the big picture, I can deal with it. So these are things that you can say that to sell yourself, because really, like most of us are on this platform have said, we are freshers. And you can also mention, if you did not put hobbies on your CV, you can also now mention the hobbies part of the part that you enjoy football, you enjoy Scrabble. You can also say that you enjoy traveling. It helps you to discover cultures, helps you discover new ways of doing things, and which shows your passion to learn better ways of doing things. So yeah, I hope that question was answered,
Yeah,
and we
very,
can
very
move on
well
to the next.
answered. Just to add to that, ensure they are relevant, right? Like we all say, my CV doesn't really show everything I can do. But if I want to
Mm-hmm.
actually say something, not something that can be that people will be wondering that, okay, what are we saying? What are you saying? Do you understand? Moving forward, um, if you are asked by the CEO of the organization to do something unethical in order to increase organization's bottom line and to save its reputation, would you do it?
Yay. Okay. Um, to a large extent, I would say this is a very tricky one. Don't rush it, but don't take too much time on this. In the sense that when you're asked, don't just say, "Oga, no, God forbid, I can't do it." Don't no, you don't have to go all through that. Just listen, ask questions, and tell him that okay, you need some time to think about it. Even though you know this within you that you won't do it, don't go all out. You won't do at the first ask. Now you could come back the next morning, or maybe a few hours after. You have your moral compass. Everyone, we all do. We all have a conscience. Personally, influence or a mentee, I would always say no, don't do whatever is unethical, because it's your career at the end of the day. It could also be a test. There are some organizations, there's some CEOs that try to test you to see what your values really are. One. And two, at the end of the day, even if it's not a test, even if it's real and they're trying to save the bottom line of the organization, when the CEO is caught or when the organization is caught, you'll be dragged along, remember? And everything you have worked for would be dragged along with you. I know of someone, I've heard of a story of an accountant who lost her license and as an ACCA and ICANN black. She had the two. She was blacklisted because of something fraudulent that she did. And I'm sure we've heard of cases where doctors lose their licenses abroad, in Nigeria, different places. So if it's unethical, I would advise you not to do it. Because at the end of the day, what you stand to lose is so much more than what you stand to gain.
Very true.
Thank you.
Very true. So, number 9, why did you leave your former employer if the reason you left was based on not meeting the KPI because the KPI was not realistic? So what this is trying to say is you've left, you want to go for another interview, and maybe because they gave you to go and make 10 billion naira in 1 month during Corona, they now sacked you. What would you say?
Wow. And this happens. It happens to some of us. As much as possible, be honest from the word go. Be very honest. Because these facts can be verifiable. So if that is what happens to you, if you are asked, say the truth about it, because they can always find out, and it could be a ground for termination if you lie. Most organizations today, most offer letters, it's always there. Whatever you have said, if it's against, if you even have to sign for it. That okay, if whatever you have said is malicious or it's not truth, your employment could be terminated. So if you are asked, be very honest. Show the value that you added, but was not enough. So, for example, like CareerLife mentioned, you asked to get 10 million, you were not able to get 10 million, but you were able to get 4 million. So sell that. Don't badmouth as much as possible. Do not badmouth because somehow it will come back to haunt you. And then, as an employer, if you're badmouthing, if I'm
please continue.
Please, can you mute? Okay, thank you. So if you badmouth, most of the time, I'm thinking as an employer, if you're leaving my organization, you also badmouth me. So also explain the lesson that you learned and what you've done to make yourself a better person. So, okay, I was told that I should get 10 million in this Corona period. I could have actually challenged it. I could have actually discussed with my manager that this is not possible for this reason, but I kept mute. So I've learned that in the future, if I have challenges achieving a particular goal, I should upfront explain why I can't achieve it. So you should sell. These are the things that you should sell out. So the learnings are very important. And if you've been at home for a while, maybe 3 or 4 or 1 year, 3, 4 months or 1 year, also make sure you're doing something. Don't just stay at home for 1 year and say, oh, I couldn't get a job. Whether you volunteer, it could even be in your church or in your mosque or your mom's shop, like CareerLife mentioned, or just make sure you're volunteering to do something. It could be online that you're writing on Bella Ninja or something. Make sure you're doing something. So this you would also sell. So you were not just idle all through the time you did not have a job. Next question, please.
Okay. So just to add to that, right? See, I've been in interviews where people left, but the way they said it is how it matter. You know, people leave for various reasons. Sometimes they can sack you and it's not really your fault. How did you say? Did you come off as arrogant? Did you come off as somebody like and all of that? And you can say the truth in a way that is not like, I was sacked, and then you be like, I don't care. I was sacked, no. You are not even willing to give reasons and show. And sometimes people will probe and all of that. So I think you should rehearse and think through. You to say it to yourself, tell it to your brother. Does this thing make sense? Do you understand? I talked to 3 or 4 people before the interview. That is what I want to say. And say, you pretend as if you need to hire somebody and you don't know me. Does this thing really make sense? Because sometimes you might be talking, they tell me like, this guy does not know that this thing we're saying doesn't sound well. You are being honest, but it doesn't still make sense. So just try to prepare before and know what you're saying so that you're not sounding so stupid and arrogant in front of them. Do you understand? Even if you have genuine reasons, just don't be arrogant about it.
And you've actually touched on something very important, because as you were speaking now, I remembered a friend who is currently out of a job. She works in the oil and gas industry. We all know what is happening in the oil and gas industry. Her department was closed down. The oil and gas today, they are not making as much money. The oil prices have gone down, and she was prepared for an interview. And she called me and asked me to interview her. And when I asked her this question, you know, I really admired the way she answered it. Oh, my department was not making as much money due to this. She had facts, she had statistics to back it up. Due to this and this and this in the all barrel sector, this, and at the end of the day, my department was closed down. She didn't make it personal about herself or the organization. So it's very important we stress it out. And that talks about the not bad mouthing. Because when you bad mouth, it will come back to haunt you. Yeah,
True.
thank you.
So what are your strengths and your weaknesses? What are your strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, this is an old time interview question that that always comes up. Yeah, strength is always very easy. A lot of us can answer that when it comes to strength. I can work without supervision. I can get 100 things done in 1 minute. We can say all about strength very quickly. But weaknesses is where it's tricky, and I think I'll dwell more on that. So weaknesses, make sure it's a weakness that can be turned into a strength. For example, you can, when you're talking about a weakness, you can talk about that. Okay, I take my time to achieve a task, but I'm learning to prioritize. And I take my time to achieve a task because I'm too detailed when I'm told to do a task. But I'm learning to prioritize and focus on what is urgent and important. So you see that it's a weakness because you said you take your time to do a task, but you have quickly turned it to a strength that because you are detailed. Everybody likes a detailed person. So okay, this person takes his time because he's detailed. Okay, and then this person, and you've also sold yourself as a self-aware person. You've also sold yourself that okay, yeah, you're learning to prioritize on what is urgent and important. So you see how you have turned it around. Another weakness that you could talk about is um I find it hard to when I'm allocated a task, when we're allocated a task in a team, I try to do everything by myself, and that's because I I I I I like everything perfect, but I'm learning the art of delegation and sharing things with other team members. So it's very very key that you turn that weakness into a strength. So don't just say I don't I like career life has always said, make sure it always makes sense. I can remember I've been in an interview before, and someone they were asking what's your weakness. I don't wake up early. Now, how does that there's no correlation. You don't wake up early, that's a weakness. No correlation at all. Whatever you are saying, because you are making an impression about yourself, make sure it's calculated. When it comes to an interview, I'm always of the opinion that you know the more the better. There's nothing like less is more when it comes to an interview, because you're not the only one, so you have to sell yourself. Eyes on the price, you have to hit it, and hit it real hard. Thank you. I can see some questions in the chat box. I'm trying to keep answer quickly, briefly, so that we can still take the Q&A.
Okay, so the next question is this. What are your salary expectations?
Okay, I think I've answered that where I talked about yeah, I've answered what are your salary expectations. For those who maybe joined in late, I basically said there are two ways. So you could stick to the traditional. I know the organization has a salary band, and I will go with what the salary band is. Or you could do some research yourself, find out that industry, what is being paid around that, and pitch towards that amount. But always say at the end of any pitch that you say that you are open for negotiation. So, for example, you know that it's 5 million that is being paid. Don't just say 5 million or nothing. No, let them know you're open for negotiation, except you don't want the job.
Cool. Very, very valid responses. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Somebody said that anybody that answered this question 5 years ago and you don't know about Corona must have lied.
They lied, though. They should be arrested. In fact, where I currently work, I've been there for like a bit over 2 years. And I remember this question was asked, well, how do you see myself in 2 years? Because where I currently work, we try to do everything like quick wins, mid-term, long-term. So I was asked for the quick wins, I was asked for the short-term, and then short to midterm and then long term. And then so these 2 years fell between. And then, I was just thinking to myself when I saw that and I laughed. I said, okay, I said this and I didn't tell them that, I'll be washing my hands in 2 years' time. Okay, so that was just on a lighter note. Yeah, so in the next 5 years, I think I will tie this to 4 major areas. Think about when you're preparing for an interview, you have to be very granular as much as possible because you don't know who you're going to meet. So what are your goals? Tie them to your interests. Tie them to the experience that you have and what learnings are you taking to get there. For example, you're a customer service executive with 6 months experience and they're asking you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So deep down, maybe in 5 years' time, you want to become a customer service manager. So how would you get there? What will you do to get there? You have to think about that. The experience that you need to get there, okay, and I will do this by working in these areas. I will do this by doing these certifications. And I will do this, and you have to highlight everything that you would do as in between this 5 years for you to get to become a customer service manager and be as real as possible. Don't be an entry-level person and they're asking you, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And I see myself as a chairman of the organization. That doesn't cut it. That does not make sense at the end of the day because in 5 years, you cannot be the chairman of the organization, especially when it's a structured and a big organization. Even if it's a one-man organization, in the next 5 years, okay, maybe you can say, okay, you want to set up your own organization, yes. But, as much as possible, be very real. Keep, highlight everything you plan to do, your goals, your interests, the learnings that you will take, and add it together to come up with a robust answer for where you see yourself in the next 5 years. Because the answers will be different per individual based on our interests and career goals.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can I network on LinkedIn?
Okay, we know networking is key today. If you don't network, you're totally on your own. I remember before I think before this year, I was networking a lot, and then I think for 2 years I didn't do a lot of networking because I was taking some exams, and I just felt that was an excuse for me not to network. And my body then turned boss now. She told me quickly, you need to upgrade on LinkedIn. And, it was just this January, and I started again on LinkedIn. That I need to. Networking is very key. It's very close to blood now when it comes to professional life. So on LinkedIn, make sure you have a profile that stands out. So, and you have to start with taking a very nice picture, face shot, and don't just write anything. We have some people that are looking for jobs. You've left a place 2 years ago, and that is what is still on your LinkedIn profile. It's very wrong. Most of these recruiters today actually check you out on LinkedIn. So you have left Yewande and Adepeju and Co. 3 years ago. You are now with Blue Life, and it's Yewande and Adepeju and Co. that is still on your LinkedIn profile. That your profile doesn't stand out. So make sure you do that. Make sure you interact also. Comment on people's posts. Now, valuable posts, I mean. Now, not that someone is saying, I fried plantain using engine oil today, and that's what you're commenting on. No, comment on valuable posts. And then post engaging content as well. You don't have to have it all. You don't have to be perfect. It could be just from 5-line posts, Somehow someone is watching you. So that is very key. We always say something at Maersk, your career is in your hands. It's something no one can, you're in the driving seat. No one can drive it for you. So you have to drive it yourself. Yeah. Next question, please.
Very true. Just to add to that, networking, most people exist on LinkedIn just to look for a job. And LinkedIn is not, you can't get a job on LinkedIn, but it is a networking platform. So like I've shared on my blog, I think I didn't write it, but somebody wrote something nice and I decided to leave it as that. Networking, you need to leave your shell. As people don't know that I'm an introvert, but I'm actually a very, very I'm an introvert, don't mind me. And then you need to come out of the shell and ditch imposter syndrome and all of that. You need to reach out. I can count millions, or not millions, maybe hundreds of people that are my friends today, and I've never met them. It was just on LinkedIn because I reached out. Don't be too proud. And don't come and say you're looking for a job, yes, but See, somebody sent me a message yesterday, and I could see the pain in the eyes. But the truth is, I'm not federal government. I don't have all the jobs. As in, if I had the jobs, do you think I would have worked myself to United Nations or P&G or something? But no, so if you want to network with me, don't come and start saying, please, ma, use your network. My brother is still looking, my biological brother is still looking for a job himself. Use your network, help me. And I was able to explain to this person, I can see the pain in your voice, but that's not the way you network with me. I'm looking for jobs for people myself. So come from a place of value. Value is how you network. See, everybody on LinkedIn, see, even the chief director, HR director of the biggest company said, if he gets a job in Trump's cabinet, he will carry the bag and we move. So everybody is looking for opportunities. Even that big person that you've seen as your savior, it doesn't mind if you triple his salary and we go. So if you come and don't come from a place of value, then I will not be willing to respond to your message, and I will not see you as somebody that should be in my network. So why should you be in my network? Maybe you think I'm high up there or somebody is high up there. You know, when you value is when you like she had said, you talk on people's posts, right? They say, this person has sense. You already are like, okay, this person makes sense. So if you come to my inbox and say, okay, nice write up on what you did, this is my question, don't you think I will respond to you? I'll respond to you because, okay, this person is genuinely asking a question. And then, okay, after the question, you can now move forward in the conversation. Maybe this person is going for an event and you meet the person, then you reach out and be like, oh, it was nice meeting you. Fine. There's something like that. You build the relationship. It's like boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm sure we all have relationships one way or the other. If one guy or one lady comes to you and just come and say, give me something, we'll be like, this one, I better go away. Everybody get problem for this Nigeria. You all know past my So I'm just trying to be realistic. That's how you can network, from value. And then from there, pick up, build it gradually. It's not just going to happen like that, bam. And I will just give you my WhatsApp number. No, it's not going to happen. I barely say people's number because I don't want you to bug in the middle of the night. So that's just how you do that, please.
Yeah, very key. And you know, to just add to what you said, because I made that mistake too at the beginning of my career. I met someone, or I would say mid-level, not even beginning. I met someone after I've worked for like 5 years, and I was very excited when I met him. Okay, we met at an HR forum, and I didn't even know who he was. I was just being my cautious self. I just, after relating with him, then so when he was leaving, he was like, oh, thank you very much for what you did. I think he was trying to get a seat, and then the person beside me was leaving, and then I called him and said, oh, we can come and sit down here. And he was very impressed. I don't know why that impressed him. And when he gave me his card, I forgot myself. I was so excited. The next day when I was calling him and I was like, I'm trying to get into your organization, and he said something. Okay, I think, let me know, cut the story short. After the event, he was waiting for someone to come and pick him. I also had some time on my hands, so we just continued talking. He had not even told me where he was working. I think we just continued talking normally. So when he was leaving, I was like, oh yeah, Peju, nice to meet you. And he gave me his card and he was leaving. And so when I saw his card, I was like, oh my God, this guy is this. Wow, I want to work in this organization. And then the next morning I called him and I was like, I think it was nice meeting you. But you're like, oh yeah, thanks for yesterday. Blah. I was like, I want to work in your organization. And he did something that impressed me. Until today, that's what made us, is making us still remain friends today. He said, stop it. You sound like a very intelligent woman. I spoke to you yesterday. You're very intelligent. All of a sudden, you don't even know who I am. And you don't know me deeply. And you're already asking me for a favor. You don't do that. What value have you offered me? And then that made me, I was like, wow. Initially, I was angry with him. I was like, what is wrong with this one? I want a job. But, thinking about it, I was like, and he said things like, how would that's why some people get things more from God. You just go to God, give me, give me, give me, give me. Fine, he will give you. But if you go from I'm sorry, I'm going spiritual here, but it's a part of me, and I'm sorry it's coming out. I'm not sorry it's coming out, but it's because it's a part of me. If you go to God and you have first of all given him what he wants, which is praise, when you now get to ask for things, it will happen. It will come because you have given him, you've fed him, you've offered value. So that is how we should also see when we are approaching people for jobs too. Thank you. Next question.
Okay, people can relate. Something in the comment section, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. So it's nice to know everybody has made that mistake. It's not the end of the world. So the next thing is, how can I make a professional in my field my mentor?
Oh yeah, mentorship. I think I dropped a on my LinkedIn page. I have something on okay, it was on sponsorship, but I talked about mentorship a bit on one of my videos I dropped on LinkedIn. But mentorship is very important. I was reading something, was it during the week or last week, a career advice site, and it says that 91% of professionals who have mentors are happier and stay longer in their jobs. Mentors are very important. Now, I'm not. This is not mentorship and godfatherism. They are two different things. So, a mentor can be someone who has a title or a position that you desire. So, you're a sales executive, your sales manager, or a sales manager in an organization you desire to work can be a mentor. So, it's better to keep it not too not too far fetched. For example, now you are a customer or a front desk officer and you want to make the CEO of your organization your mentor. Nobody is saying it's bad, but it's really far fetched. It's better to make it cut cut the gap, make it something you can easily like your next step. You should have different mentors as you move on per time in life. So another thing I would say on how to make a professional in your field your mentor is someone is saying, I think we have to be careful when connecting. Okay, I didn't read that, but let me just go ahead. So be prepared. Let them know what you want and what you want to get from the relationship. Be very upfront about it. Don't be indirect and like Mrs. or Mr. Ajayi. I just like the way you work. Don't just be flattering and be direct and make it face to face. It's always better because a mentor mentee is a symbiotic relationship. Even though the mentee gets more than the mentor, but it has to be something the mentor is desirable of doing. So that's why the face to face angle comes in. You will see the body language if the person wants to or not. And if the person doesn't want to, don't feel bad about it. It's okay. The person has actually saved you a lot of stress because the mentor has to be genuinely interested in you. So, and then also I would say give it time. Let them know that it's not a sense of obligation. Let them know that it's not like, okay, I'm pushing you to the corner to do this. Let them know it's something you want them to consider. Let them know, okay, can I come back next week Monday? Maybe you're talking to the person on Wednesday. Can I come back next week Monday? Maybe I've had some time to think about it and I'll have my response by then. And like I would always say, the answer is no. Don't feel bad. They've done you good by telling you no. Because if the person says yes, the person would not serve you as in the person will just be a figurehead mentor. And really you don't want to have that. So yeah, so that's the answer to this question. Like I said, no one size fits all. I can see some comments in the chat box. So thank you to those who are also commenting. I know there are professionals on this platform as we go. So next question, please.
Okay, so just to add to that, right? I think it's also related to that same networking on LinkedIn. See, I am when during the EFPZ 2.0 and this thing came up, the thing is, what kind of message are you sending to that mentor? How are you approaching the mentor? Now, you need to first realize that a mentor doesn't owe you. Nobody owes you anything. So how you need to be very careful depending on the level. But one thing I need to say is this. Your mentor, I have a lot of mentors that I don't know I exist, but they've been a blessing to my life. So there's some level of people that, to be honest, I can't reach Trump. Even if I admire Trump, I don't really admire him anyway. But would I not rather have him as a mentor from afar? Because there are some people that get to this level that it's really difficult to get to them. That's one. Two, the ones that you feel are reachable, right? How are you getting to them? Are you just saying, hi, I love your work, please be my mentor? Do you know how many messages they get? To be honest, I'm not big or anything, no, but at least in almost every month, my friend is always saying, please mentor somebody, mentor somebody. I'm like, I have family. Wait 24 hours do I want to use to mentor how many people? But the thing is, mentorship, if you really want one-on-one mentorship, or you really have, there's one big thing that you need this person's audience, that this is really important. Come from a place of value. See, I've sent a message to somebody that, is a very big HR director. If I mention his name, you'll be like, oh, wow. And one of the reasons he says he agreed to mentor me was the message I sent to him. I promised that I showed why it's good for him to have me as a mentor. Because it's two things. It's like you are selling yourself. This person, 24 hours is not even enough for him. So why should he add you to his schedule? And I was like, these are my potentials. This is what I've been doing even in my own small space. This is where you've gotten to. So I looked at his career, I highlighted his career, I studied his life. Do you understand? I've checked it in his news, his achievements. I was like, sir, these are some of the things you've done. This is how I can relate to it. I'm at level 1 of this in my career. You at level 10, right? And this is why I want you to be my mentor. And if you take me as your mentee, these are the things you stand to gain. I don't have money to give him. He can probably, his salary can be like times 100 of my own. But then he really liked my message. I'm like, this guy has potential. So let me give you, he said he was going to give me 30 minutes of his time a month. And that 30 minutes, if you know how many days I have to book it ahead and literally go, because it's literally very busy. So don't feel entitled, but come from a place of value. Like she had said, cross mentoring and potential. People want to be part of success stories. They want to say, yes, Yewande is my mentee when she becomes this and that. But how would they know who Yewande is? How would they know who Peju is if you are not able to sell yourself that I am worth your 10 minutes? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So let's move to the next question. How do I transition?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So before we move to the next question, some valid points you made. The last statement you made about what is in it, as in, I would title it as what is in it for me. The mentor also wants to know, because these people are busy people. What do I stand to gain? Everyone is attracted to success. Everyone is attracted to value. So what have you done for yourself so far? So you're asking someone to be your mentor, and you're like, I don't have a job. I've been at home for 2 years. I don't have a job. I want you to be my mentor. All you've sold is you've sold problem. So you've not sold anything about yourself. But rather, when you say I've not gotten, and you have to be careful with your choice of words. I've not gotten a structured job in the past 18 months, but in the past 18 months, this is what I've been doing. You have actually sold. You've changed the narrative. It sounds more compelling and attractive that way. So please, let's watch the way we also sell ourselves. Thank you. Next question.
Okay, so the next thing is, how do I transition successfully into database analysis with no experience? I think it's someone that is in doing this EFP. I don't know. But if you have experience, you can answer anyway.
Okay. Okay. First of all, I think the first thing you have to ask yourself, whoever is sending this question, because it's quite specific, is why do you want to be a database analyst? Why? You have to be able to answer that question on why. If it's just because everybody is doing it or is the in thing, you have to watch it, because at the end of the day, if your interest doesn't lie there, you would be frustrated. You hear some people saying, oh, I just want to be an IT. If your interest doesn't lie there, don't aim to just want to go there. But yeah, this is how you can be if you are a fresher. Get skilled in it. First of all, start with maybe a few trainings. There are some even free trainings that you can do on YouTube and on LinkedIn as well. So try and go for these few free trainings. Try and take up or raise your hands up, maybe in your church, in your mosque, in your community, on projects that have to do database analysis. So you are doing it for them free of charge. You don't mind, but you're learning, you're honing your skills. So this is like the best way. And then if you have maybe someone that is already in this field, you could also ask the person to mentor you in quotes and give you some maybe little tasks to do. That way you are preparing yourself. When the opportunity opens up, you'll be prepared.
Okay. Next question is this. When we are required to send a CV to an email, does it mean we shouldn't add a cover letter?
This is dependent on you, but I always say for interviews, more is better. Even if they didn't ask for it, you can go ahead and send it. The only thing that you may not add is maybe attachments of your birth certificate. There are some applications you receive and you're told to send your CV and you attach your birth certificate, your marriage certificate, your first school living certification exam, no, that's all. But if you can add a cover letter, and make sure you make the cover letter detailed and concise to the organization. I know I've been in an interview where someone applied in my organization, we do shipping and logistics. And the cover letter was tailored towards oil and gas. So I could tell that this person just probably did copy and paste from someone, or maybe applied to an oil and gas organization and you just sent me the same. That already was a turn off. Though that didn't mean that the person was not shortlisted, but I gave the person the feedback at that interview. So it's fine to attach a cover letter if there is the opportunity for it. More is more. Sell yourself. Don't be humble about it. Very important when you're being considered for an interview.
Okay, the next question has somewhat be answered. Why do you want to leave your previous employer? I think we've answered that already.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
We have. Yeah.
Then the
Yeah, I
next
think we
one
can
is,
go on so that we can pick some questions in the chat box.
okay, the next question is, do you have any question for us?
Oh yeah, this is always a trap. Um, it's I would say it's a trap in the sense that most times if you say no, it's not the best. When you have and when you're preparing for an interview, prepare for the questions you have as well for the organization. So do some when you have questions, it shows that you've done some research. And if you think you don't have questions, maybe you are scared, you don't want to go technical because that could also you could fall into a trap by being technical. You could ask basic questions like, okay, maybe the interviewer has introduced himself. I'm the HR manager, and this is the hiring manager. I've been with this organization for 6 years. This one said I've been with this organization for 10 years. You can ask a question like, okay, what has kept you engaged for the past 10 years that you've been in this role or in this organization? So that way you are selling yourself as okay, you want engagement, being engaged in the workplace is key for you. And in most organizations, engagement is a big deal because if you're not engaged, you're not productive, and that affects the bottom line. So you've sold yourself as someone that you are taking engagement very, very, very serious. You could ask a question like, what does success look like on this role? So that way you sold yourself as you are success driven, you are achievement driven. When you are being considered and you get the job, being successful is key and paramount for you. So that should always you should always have a question at the end of an interview. Is recommended, highly recommended. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just to add to that, I've written an article about that, and a few people have reached out to me that is the day of their interview, they're really going through that blog to see what to say. So for more info, you can actually go through some. I've written some questions that will be very helpful, but she had already said that I don't want to overflog the issue. Number 20, how do I overcome interview phobia and tension? I think this was the number one question that was
Yeah.
asked, right?
Yeah, I'll just give a recap on this. Maybe for those who joined me, this was the number one question that was asked, and the response was be authentic, aim to connect and not to impress. Very key. When you're impressing, somehow it will show. Prepare well for the interview. That's go through the JD. Don't just go and assume that Chibi is me. No, prepare for the interview. Make sure you're able to defend everything on your CV. That would reduce tension. If you have done a certification and you know that you just paid for the certification, you don't understand, take it out of your CV. Imagine and confess success. Confession is very powerful. When you confess things, it does something to your psychic. So confess that you'll be successful at the interview. Then prepare and answer questions aloud. You can get your brother or your sister or your friend to ask you questions. I have friends who do that with me a lot. They will call me, Adepeju, I'm preparing for an interview. Please, can you ask me questions? And we have touched on some things that you find out that, wow, you're not prepared or you're 30% ready. And maybe the interview is tomorrow. And we'll go through it again, over and over again. And at the end of the day, they'll be prepared. So it's very key. Prepare for it.
Okay, thank you so much. And
Thank you.
one thing about EFP, for EFP 2.0, I just wanted to add what somebody said. This is not my own words, right? One of the speakers, he's like a psychologist, and he talked about phobia that even me myself, I was learning. So I would like to reshare some of the things he said. For phobia, right? One thing he said, if you're going for an interview, ask yourself, these people on the panel, would they go to the toilet? This is just a very funny thing, but it's actually very serious. I didn't know human beings like me. Would they eat? Would they not go home? Would they beat me? Would I die? Do you understand? And the truth is, that's just the basic reality. When you put your heart so much in something and you feel that if I don't get this interview, I'm done for, I'm going to die. That's when you get scared. And when you get scared, you have more opportunity to mess up and start saying rubbish. So by the time you enter the interview, you just start prepping yourself. These people are normal people. Last class I'll be okay. And for me, I've been as experienced as you think I am with interviews. There's sometimes I don't even know the evil spirit that just comes to me. I just begin to be scared. And before I enter the interview, I just look at myself. You know, why are you stressing yourself? Last class you don't get an interview, you die. Would anything happen to you? So just move on. Don't over put your mind in it so much that you begin to start getting tense unnecessarily. Give yourself a very nice pat on the back that hype yourself. You know, sometimes if you don't hype yourself, who will? Look at me now. I'm not good enough for this thing. You get? And you know, sometimes when you hype yourself like that, you just find yourself that you just calm down, and then as they're asking you questions, it's not a do or die affair. You just answer it normally, and you just realize that you're no longer scared anyway. That's one of the tips he gave, and I found it helpful. You know, especially when I'm going for maybe one really big stuff and I'm like, I must not mess this up. And I don't say you have started again. You get? So that's just it, Sha. So we're almost coming to the end. Some questions are coming in the chat box I would answer. So number 21, do I have to state date of resignation for a current role?
Okay. I don't know what this person is actually trying to get, but yeah, if you have resigned in an organization and you're interviewing, it's fine to, I don't know if I'm answering it right because I don't really know what you're trying to ask. If it's on LinkedIn, maybe you've left an organization, yes, it's better to state that resignation date because these things are verifiable. So you've left P&P and Co. 30th of May, and it shows on your LinkedIn current place of employment P&P and O from 2018 till date. If you've left there, you are even been and they can sue you because you've left. So why are you still claiming that you're still there? Put it on LinkedIn that you've left. You even make yourself attractive to other organizations. And then in an interview, maybe you are resigning by the month end. If you are being asked that, okay, when are you resigning? Let them know upfront. If you're not asked, you can keep it to yourself. But if you are being asked, oh yes, I'm interviewing because I'm leaving by the end of this month. I'm open to new opportunities, new challenges, new career openings. Yeah. I hope I answered that question because I don't really know what this participant is trying to ask, but
the
to the best of my knowledge.
The question has said it. He said you have not left yet, but you are seeking a new job in another location.
Yeah, it's fine to let them know upfront. Even if they don't ask, you can keep it to yourself. If they ask, go ahead. I'm leaving by the 30th of August. Because but it's always good. It helps you to also add the reason. Because I'm moving to another location, my family is relocating, and I would like to join them. Because my department was shut down due to this and this and this, and I was affected. So when you give the reasons, make sure you bring out the positives out of it. So don't make it look like, oh, my boss told me to leave and I just have to leave. No. So just give the reason. But if you are not asked, you don't have to say. But if you are asked, give the reason. But if you have left the place, also let them know. Don't make it look as if you are currently in that place if you've actually left.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think you've answered it very well. The last question, why did you choose this career?
Yeah, this is also a very important question because, every organization, they want, an employee and an employer is like a marriage. It has to pay the employer, it has to pay the employee. So you have to learn about first of all, the career goals, how it fits into your future. Make sure you are motivated and you perform if hired. So if you're being asked why did you choose this career, you should have done some research in the organization as well. You can't just come and okay, I want to work in an FMCG, and they're asking you a few questions and you don't know anything. It's okay. For example, my organization now, it's shipping and logistics. Recent times, if you watched on CNN, there was something that happened in Lebanon, in Beirut to be specific, about the port, that there was an explosion and all that. So imagine I'm going for an interview in another shipping industry and they're asking me something about that and I'm totally clueless. Even though I'm in HR, I should understand what's happening in my industry. So I should be able to sell myself that I'm interested in what is happening. Then I should also be able to talk about my career goals. Okay, why I chose this career is because this is what I want to do. How does it fit into my future? I hope that I in the next 5 years, this is what I want to do. Why am I motivated? Make sure you're motivated. I'm motivated in this because it aligns with my interest. I'm an HR person, for example, using myself as an example. I like to nurture people. I like to help people on their career path. I like to work with underperforming employees to bring out the best in them. I like to work with talent to make them of more value to an organization and be retained by that organization. You see that I'm trying to talk about how more, and if you have some statistics for a fresher, you may not be able to go through this. But for example, for a fresher now, you could talk about, okay, when I was doing my NYSC, I did this. I did my NYC in this particular area, and this has helped me to do, you have to think about your interest. No one can answer it for you. You are the one that knows this interest that you have. So make sure you tie your career goals, your future, where you want to see yourself, what motivates you, that's your interest. And then do the research, do some research about the organization. Don't just be blank. Even if you're going to be the front desk person, you should understand what is happening in that industry. So yeah, that's the answer to number 22.
Okay then, thank you so much. I think we've come to the end of all the questions. So right now, what we'll be looking at is more of the questions that have come in the chat box. So now we've gotten to Q&A now. So please, it's time for Q&A. Let me go through some of the questions in the chat box. If I've not gone through your questions, please, can you bring it up again? Then, like I put it in the chat box, share your learning points on Twitter with the hashtag. What are some of the takeaways you've had in this session? So Olayinka asked, wait, you have to explain your value and need when stating your salary. Okay, Olayinka said, do you have to explain your value and needs when stating your salary expectations, like citing distance to work or qualification as factors that influence your salary request? Or is that unnecessary? So something like you want to demand, you need to start telling stories. That's what it's asking.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get what you said last. Something like you want to be. I didn't hear what you said.
So he wants to probably demand for his salary. I guess that, they ask what you want to earn.
Salary.
Yeah, and he wants to start stating reasons, or is it unnecessary?
Yeah. I would say that shoot your shot. But at the end of the day, don't forget to always say that it's negotiable. So, for example, you've done this very expensive certification. It's fine to go ahead and say it, but be humble about the way you say it. Not that I've spent 1.5 million on training myself. You don't expect me to earn 2 million per annum. That comes across as being brash, being proud and arrogant. But you can say that, okay, I got this certification, which cost a lot of money, but I would also like not just to recoup, not because I want to recoup the money, but this is the value I would offer. I think self-value more. When you self-value, somehow, even when you leave, they are human beings. Like I think Yewande has mentioned, there are people that use the restroom like you. They would think to themselves and be like, okay, this person actually he makes a lot of sense. But be careful with open for negotiation. So I'm willing to earn 3 million, but open for I'm willing to earn 10 million, but open for negotiation. Don't forget you have done your research as well. So even if you have earned, because there's some people that are overqualified. Now you've done a PhD and you're entry level. Now, entry level in that field, maybe they are paying 4 million per annum for entry level. Even if you've gotten a PhD, you don't expect them to want to pay you 10 million because of your PhD. So you also have to be realistic and do some research. I hope that answers.
Yes, you've answered it very well. See, she has said it all, value, that's all. If you want to defend yourself, come from a value point. Someone said, what's the difference between cover letter and cover email? Should cover letter be attached as a PDF?
It's always better that you have, except it is demanded for. The cover letter is always more detailed. A cover email is just, for example, Dear hiring manager, my name is Moshood Ajala. I have attached in here my CV and my motivation letter. I look forward, a cover email should be short. A cover letter should be more detailed. And it's always advised that you make it attached and in PDF so that when it is sent from one email to the other, it can be altered.
Okay.
I hope that answers.
Yes. Just to add to that, cover letters should not be, see, one thing about this thing is there's no hard and fast rule. If you're using ATS, if you're applying on a website, or if you're using through emails, it differs. So when people tell you that always put your CV in PDF, it's better for emails. But when you are using a recruitment platform, use Word, right? So same thing with cover letters. If you're sending an email, I would advise you don't attach it as if you're attaching your CV. Paste it in the body of the email, right? But if you are using an ATS, that's an applicant tracking system, or a website that's like a recruitment platform, put it as Word, attach it. Don't say, oh, Yewande said you should paste it and all of that. You know, so different strokes, nothing, there's no one size fits all. For ATS it's different, for email it's different. I'm very careful about that.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, I still find it a bit difficult highlighting transferable skills when transiting a new career. Please put your questions, we'll soon be rounding up. Let's answer that.
If that person could unmute and ask, I did not really understand transferable skills. How do you mean? I would appreciate if whoever is asking could unmute.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Adepeju.
Okay, hi Ronke.
I was going to ask the question about transferable skills. I've been finding it a tad difficult in highlighting. Look at I'm trying to transfer to HR.
Okay.
From business development, and also I'm trying to move to HR, but I've been finding a bit difficult in highlighting the skills that skills required for HR.
Okay.
And one on my CV, and even at interviews, so that it will be obvious to whoever is interviewing me, or whoever wants to have me on board. It's okay. Yes, this person may not have this person may not have a background in HR, but has some skills that that can be useful in HR.
I think I understand. Thank you for that example. It gives clarity. So, for example, now you can give. Okay, so for using your example, business development to HR. Now, for you to be a business development person, most of the time you have to have very good presentation skills, because you have to probably present to you have to, when you go for presentations or when you are trying to sell something, you have to present your product. So presentation skills is very important for HR, because if you are to lead a training, whether Zoom, whether face to face, you have to have the ability to present well. So that's transferable. As an HR person, you have to be relational. For a business development person, you have to be relational, because you can't be an HR person. Even if you are quiet, you can't stay in your space. You need to engage with the employees. That's very key for an HR person. You don't have to always be, you can't be in your space. You'll be in your space sometimes, or you can't be in your space most of the time. So a business development person too is a relational person. So you can add that to your repertoire. Another thing you can say is a business development person should be able to explain return on investment, how you can, okay, this business is viable, this business is not also viable. You should be able to also do that as an HR person when you're referring to talent. So when you're investing in a talent, maybe this organization is thinking that let's send this person for a particular training, you should be able to look through the talent's track record. What has this person done so far? Why does this person deserve this expensive training? What's the return on investment that we'll get from this person? And this is important in HR as well. So I hope, Ronke, I was able to give some clarity to what you're saying.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So just to add to that, for non-HR people that want to transition, you want to transition from probably admin to sales. It is just like similarities and comparison in English. Sit down. what are the skills or competencies that are required for your current job, right? It's more of an analysis. Then sit down, what are the skills and competencies required for the path you want to transition into, right? So by the time you now look at it, what are now the similarities? So that's more of transferable things that you can move from X to Y. If you are not aware, you won't be able to link it. So you don't know what you don't know. Because you feel that, oh, all these product managers and software engineers, they are making millions. That's why I want to go. You don't even know what it takes to be a software engineer or a product manager or whatever you want to jump into. So that is what would help you know that this is how I can move. This is how I can move into a new field that I want to go into. So let's just move forward. I need more insight on how to overcome interview phobia for someone that has speech challenge, which allows him or her to lose self-confidence. Do you want to help us answer that?
Okay, I understand. Maybe you're probably a stammerer or something. I think the first thing to do is also to over prepare and practice. Practice in the sense that I'm not saying cram because you don't know the questions you'll be asked, but when you continually practice, it helps your confidence. And then upfront, like Yewande has rightly said, these people are human beings. Upfront, you can let them know when you introduce yourself. Good afternoon. I'm so glad to be here. I'm grateful to be invited for this interview. Please, before we go ahead, I would just like to let you know I'm a stammerer. Please, I would appreciate if I stammer in between. Please don't be offended, or don't take it as I'm confused, or I'm operating under pressure. So you let them know upfront that you have those speech challenges, which can happen to anybody. So you let them know. They would even appreciate you more because you are self-aware and you put the problem ahead of time. So these are, and then like we said, be authentic. The phobia thing, most times the tension comes when you're trying to fake what you're not. When you're trying to when you're being thrown off balance, and you're, it was so funny. Just 2 weeks ago, my friend was interviewing for a role and she asked me to help, and we're talking, and funny enough, I just asked her on a certification on her CV. And even to me, as her friend, she started stammering. And I said, wait, why are you stammering? And she was like, well, could you, man, this certification, I just paid for it. I don't really understand. And I said, take it off your CV. So if you are not certain, even if it's an MBA, take it off. Because in today's world, for those who have time, go and check I have a video on LinkedIn on certification and certification. In today's world, certification is very important. Certification is from the word sabi, is just to know. What you can do is much more important than your certificate. You can have you've seen PhD holders who don't know how to do things. They can't even compose an email decently. And unfortunately, in today's Nigeria, we are getting better. People pay for certifications. They pay to get, some people even our leaders, some of them are paying to get degrees. So very, very key that you are confident and you know what you want to say. If you write on your CV something as simple as a hobby, I like to crack jokes, and you know it's not true, don't put it there. I have a boss who she said she wrote on her CV, part of the hobbies, I like to crack jokes. And the second question she was asked after tell me about yourself is, I was looking through your CV, I saw in your hobbies that you like to crack jokes. Okay, go ahead and crack a joke. You can imagine. If she is naturally not a funny person, that could throw her off balance. And that was the second question after tell me about yourself. So please stay authentic. Very, very important to be authentic. Prepare. Make sure you've read through the JD. If you have a speech challenge, say it upfront. Don't be ashamed about it. They're human beings, and they'll respect you for it. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. You've answered. We don't have any other question, and you've literally covered everything we need to know. I really appreciate the time taken here. So just drop a comment. How helpful was this session to you? You can drop it in the comment box. We've come to the end of this session. For those that joined late, you've missed a lot. So please, you can follow our guest, Adepeju Makinde, on LinkedIn. I think her name is, or just drop your social media handles that they can use to follow you if they want to connect with you.
Okay, I'll do that straight away.
Okay, so she'll drop it in the comment section. Then, so like we all know, EFP is going to be next month. Our flagship event, the Employability Fitness Program 3.0, the third edition, where we'll be having live interview mock sessions. So we would have over 30 HR professionals and subject matter experts. For that person that asks about data analysis, right? So these people, you would enter a breakout room with them. They would interview you in a no judgment zone. So the reason why this thing was started in the first place is this: when you go for an interview, you're in a judgment zone. Let's be realistic. So this one, we're going to break the interview walls, bring the same set of people that you cannot really look in the eye and you're shaking. They're coming to know that they're coming to coach you. And then they interview you, you answer them. And the best part of this program is it's not a guaranteed employment, but at least every program, I've seen lots of people who are interviewed get employed. So because I've met, for example, Ugochi, and I see that this person has a wonderful personality. This person's CV has probably not made it through my difficult recruitment process. I'm like, Ugochi, why don't you just send me an email tomorrow? We have an opening that fits, some of the things you've talked about. So it's something you should be part of, because you would meet people one-on-one. It's usually physical, but you would have the opportunity to talk to them. They will learn more about you, and then you can actually network with them outside the event. Then the second day is a general coaching session. With top HR leaders who would now coach you, because these people on various topics. So register. The link to register is going to be on the Telegram group. Register is free. It's totally free. It's biannual event. It's a vision to help people with interview phobia. So if you were like me before, or you know somebody who struggles with interviews, let them register. Day one is going to be very competitive to enter. Even though it's free, it's not everybody that is going to be part of the interview mock session. Let's get that clear. Day two is free for all, but day one is going to be difficult. The selection is quite rigorous. So register on time. It's going to close by the end of this month so that we can get our panelists ready ahead. For some people that are asking this same question I will ask, that we've answered already, I'm sorry we may not be able to answer it again. However, I recorded the session. So I will try and upload it on YouTube if it's not too large and it's not too stressful. But I recorded the session so that you can watch it later, and then you can also read my blog. Let me put the handle. Some of these questions, like tell me about yourself, I've written about it. Questions like, do you have any question for us? I've written about it. So just read through it, and we can answer later. Thank you very much for joining. Have a wonderful weekend ahead. Thank you so much, Adepeju. Please follow her on LinkedIn. She shares very wonderful content.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thanks, everyone, and enjoy your weekend.
Okay, then. Bye-bye.